All right, welcome everybody to the final match of the Week 1 Fab CTL League between Hyperloops and Team Kitchen Fable. I'm Andy Modell, and today with me I have Quinn Wongkew.
Hey, how you doing?
All right, so Quinn, this is the fifth game of the series between Team Kitchen Fable and the Hyperloops. Right now the Hyperloops are up 4-0. And who do we have playing here today?
All right, over on the Hyperloop side, we have Manton, also known as Cody Williams, who is one of the star members of the Hyperloops team. Most recently, I think, played in, well, his big accolade is top 4 at Nationals, running chain. And I could go through the other ones if I could remember them.
Yeah, he also got top 4 at the Calling Indy, also with Chain. But over here, it looks like he's playing Starvo.
Yes, exactly. One element of this team league is that each team can only field each character once for the week. And with only so many top-level characters, he's playing Starvo. One of the best.
All right, yeah, Starvo definitely a top contender. I was looking at some stats for the league. Apparently, for the Division 1 teams, Starvo is currently at 1 win to 4 losses. So not the same win rate that you'd expect. Maybe the Team 1 Division people are just used to playing against Starvo now. Now, who do we have on the other side? This is Jimmy from Team Kitchen Fable.
Exactly. Jimmy is a classic player of Bolton, so we'll have to see if he's bringing that in today.
Yeah, looking over here, Quinn, it looks like you're still not in the room yet. There you go. Yeah,
there we go. On the struggle bus.
Yep, as expected, we have Jimmy playing Bolton. Now, during the most recent, the Season 1 of the league, Jimmy played Bolton in the finals against Joe from the Hyperloops, and Joe ended up winning with a Prism using Talishir, the Lost Prince. So not a traditional run. Over here, we'll see if Manton ends up going a more traditional route with Starvo, or if he tries something fun to beat Bolton specifically.
Yeah, so I happen to have a little bit of information on that, or we can let it be a surprise for our viewers. What do you think, Andy?
Yeah, I'm gonna let Manton show us what he's got.
All right, it'll be an exciting turn of events for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it looks like we got some dice on the board. Players just finishing up their sideboard, putting equipment down, ready to do their high roll. So with this league... Oh, sorry, what was that?
I was just going to say, they're starting up their sideboard now. Over at the bottom, you can kind of see that they've got a cheeky Talishar in the list as a reference to that Prism match in the last finals.
Oh,
but
yeah.
There's a big question. What's Bolton going to run, Sabres or Raiden? What do you think?
Well, I think they're both very different styles of play. The Sabres build is more of an OTK style, which we do find that OTK Viserai tends to be more effective of the Vis builds against Starvo. The Raiden build is more of an aggressive deck, which personally I don't think would perform as well into Starvo. What's your guess?
I'm going to guess Sabres as well. So Raiden tends to go, card for card a little bit easier, while the Sabres is, of course, going for the one-turn kill. And with something like Starvo, they're able to output consistent pressure through Dominate. So I'm expecting... one second, gotta change myself to gray team. There we go. I'm expecting to go Sabres and try and finish them off in 1 or 2 turns with a maybe triple or double Lumina.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bolton can be super powerful, rocking Lumina for those huge turns, outputting tons of damage. Looks like Cody has chosen to use Rampart of the Ram's Head as his shield. I heard some people speculating that we might be seeing the Icy shield over there, Stalagmite. And as predicted, Jimmy is rocking Sabres.
Yeah, so actually a pretty remarkable normal setup from Starvo. This is the build you want to be using 90% of the times, unless you have to deal with arcane damage. Same thing with Bolton, nothing out of the ordinary.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and it looks like on Cody's first turn, he just put the card in Arsenal, ticked up Tunic, and passed, not letting Jimmy filter his hand at all, trying to get more combo pieces ready.
All right, and you can see that Jimmy is going straight in on the combo, nice and early, with a turn 1 Soul Food, pitching the whole hand, bringing it into the soul.
Now, what is the advantage of having a big soul on the Sabres Bolton?
Well, first of all, you need to have a sufficient number of cards in soul in order to get go again on your Sabres in that big Lumina turn where you get to attack with each saber 3 times. Additionally, you're going to end up with an even bigger soul at the end of it, and you're going to want to be able to burn a lot of those for big beacons of, what's that called? Beacon of Victory?
Yeah, Beacon of Victory lets you pump your stuff up and then do a search.
Exactly, and that can be especially helpful for finding V for the Vanguard, V of the Vanguard.
Yeah, V the Vanguard lets you put a lot of stuff, charge your soul a lot, get a big boost on your turn.
All right, and finally we've got some action here. Just a simple whale. I don't think there was go again, so just a very heads-up turn.
Yeah, we'll see. Cody might be trying to figure out how to get his hand as strong as it can be to activate Starro's ability, making sure he can really pump it in hard. Using dominated attacks in a game like this will prevent Jimmy from blocking with too many cards, which against Viserai is what you do to stop them from getting their OTK setup as good. Against Bolton, is that a similar thing, or does Bolton use so many cards each turn that it's not really a consideration?
Yeah, I think you want to get rid of as many cards as possible here, especially because they're just trying to get their soul built up quickly while holding on to their combo pieces. But you can see an important piece of tech here that Menton's brought in, which is Command and Conquer. So once you find a Lumina as Bolton, you want to stick it in Arsenal until you can get 2 or 3 of them for a big combo turn.
Yeah, Command and Conquer, if you've got those combo pieces in Arsenal, can become a must block for sure. And it looks like Jimmy's doing some thought over here, figuring out what he's going to do to actually get that full block on, if he wants to keep that card in Arsenal, or maybe it is something that he can afford to lose. At this point, we don't know.
Mm-hmm. But the important thing for Jimmy right now is to just filter through his deck and get to that combo as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm. Now, I've seen sometimes people will be rocking Bolton, and they'll use 2 Luminas for their combo. Ooh, I'm sorry, but that Pummel is worth a pause. Pummel being a super useful card in overcoming those blocks, letting Command and Conquer get out of the Arsenal and cause a discard. Looks like he didn't have that Lumina in Arsenal, so this won't be disrupting Jimmy's combo too much, but that was still a very effective turn from Cody.
Exactly. At the very least, it's going to prevent Bolton from doing anything on the crackback. Mm-hmm. As you can see, he's just planning to Arsenal and move back to Starbo's turn.
Yeah, so up against a combo build like we have here, or not a combo build, I'm sorry, an OTK build, what is the main strategy on Starvo?
It's to just put pressure out as consistently as possible, and to disrupt. So you want to make sure you hit Luminas if you can. Each one that's in the discard means you don't have to face it during the combo turn, and otherwise you just want to push them down in health, so when they do finally go off, you have an even footing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it looks like here Cody's coming in with a Dominated Oaken Old. He did not activate Bravo Star of the Show's ability, so this is only going to be 9 with the Dominate, but it still has that on-hit discard, or 2 random cards onto the bottom. So this is another card that Jimmy doesn't like to see for sure.
Exactly, especially if he's holding on to one of those combo pieces in hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it looks like Cody's reminding him it does have Dominate.
Which is going to cause Jimmy to reconsider his options here. One thing, though, is if Jimmy's ready to do a little bit of mid-turn aggression, is he could just take all the damage here and put some pressure back on Starvo to hopefully prevent him from doing constant hero power activations.
Yeah, that is always an option. When faced with something like a Crippling Crush or an Oaken Old, you know you're going to lose 2 cards, potentially, so do you want to keep that hand to 4 and know that you still have 2 at the end, or do you want to actually block out and just say that you're not going to have a very powerful turn? Now, it looks like here he had a very fortunately placed Sink Below in that arsenal, able to actually prevent that Oaken Old from hitting for any damage.
Yeah, and this time there is no Pummel to push over the top.
Mm-hmm.
But as we do move back to Jimmy's turn, he's once again arsenaling and passing.
Yeah, being on the Saber side for Bolton is really a game of patience. While you do want to put a bit of pressure in, bring their life down, build up your soul, you also want to make sure you stick to the plan. I feel like the times when the OTK-style builds lose is when they don't stick to their plan, they try to be a bit more aggressive when it isn't necessary, and then when it does come time for the OTK turn, they're not able to pull through.
Exactly. But now as we move back to Starvo, we've got a Flash here coming in for a double action turn. And right now it's just going to be a Red Autumn's Touch for 7, which you probably want to block with 1 or 2 cards here, depending on his plan. Often, Bolton is happy to just block with 3 cards from their hand and drop a potion, once again improving on the combo turn.
Yeah, it looks like Jimmy decided to take all of that damage, so with the Autumn Touch having go again from Flash, Cody will be coming in with the Hammer, Winter's Wail. It is not Frosty, because he just banished, or pitched a Lightning card, but it is still an 11 damage turn.
Yeah, exactly. And if it did happen to be an ice card, you think you would have seen the hero activation, given that that's the only missing element at the moment.
Oh, there you go.
All right, so we're considering a Courage of Bladehold block here on the Hammer, which kind of suggests that Jimmy's ready to go soon on double Lumina turn.
Yeah, Courage of Bladehold, you only really get to block with it once if you still intend to use it, because unlike many of the powerful equipment we see, Courage of Bladehold only has Temper, so if you block with it that second time, it is gone. Jimmy, though, just coming in with a Take Flight. This is one of the Go Again cards that lets you charge your arsenal. Do you think he's going to come following through with this with something else, or is that Go Again going to be a moot point here?
Now, this is actually a pretty classic setup to the combo turn, because if this Take Flight hits, yep, here we go, which it's going to through the Beacon of Victory, it means that you've already, you've already got Go Again, you've got cards in Soul, which means you've charged, which makes a lot of these abilities and cards coming from Boltyn much more effective.
Yeah, so what he did was he didn't have any Lumina Ascensions in his hand, but with the one Beacon of Victory in hand and the other in Arsenal, he was able to react with them both, tutoring effectively for these Lumina Ascensions, which he's following the Take Flight with, and now he's going to use these to give his Sabers, for each Lumina, an extra hit and a pump. So each of these Sabers is going to be able to attack 3 times this turn, and for each Lumina, they're going to be getting +1. So instead of coming in for just 2 damage, this is going to be coming in, as Jimmy's indicating, for 4.
Mm-hmm. So this is actually a pretty pivotal point in this game. Something to note, though, is once Courage of Bladehold is used, the combo is done, and it makes it really difficult to continue the aggression in the late game if this turn does not deal enough damage.
So this right here is the do or die.
Exactly. So this is very much like the Viserai OTK, where that core chest piece is the difference between being able to threaten big OTK turns. After this, we're probably going to see both players sitting around the 15 to 20 HP range, or life range, and then you'll see a lot more of a standard game of Fab, if you want to call it that.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and it looks like using Boltyn's reaction, Jimmy was able to take the card from his soul to give his Saber Go Again. Now, right now, Jimmy only has 2 cards left in soul, so is there a chance that he's not even able to get the full boost of his combo?
It's absolutely possible. We'll have to see how well it goes. If there are blocks in the Starvo player's hands, sometimes you can end up with Blizzards, and other various low block cards, maybe 2 blocks, for example, which can make it a little difficult to fully block out. But we still do have Ironhide Legs, we have the Tunic, which could get used, and 3 cards in hand. Definitely a possibility.
Yep, and the Crown of Seeds is preventing 1 damage right now. If Cody did have a Blizzard, it looks like Jimmy's already actively prepared for it with 2 resources floating. So unless there's 2 Blizzards, that's not going to be stopping the Go Again.
Exactly, which makes it kind of a dead card in hand, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, normally...
So that shows... Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, normally we would see Gallantry Gold popped here, but I think Jimmy, intentionally playing around the Blizzard, wanted to leave those 2 resources. Anyway, Cody is fully blocking the second Saber swing, and Jimmy has taken all but 1 cards out of his soul to give it Go Again. So this is swing number 3, and it will be fully blocked with cards from Cody's hand. 2 attack reactions, which actually bump the damage up to 5, but then Frendel Spring Tunic blocking that 5th damage. Why is it so important to get a full block out on the Lumina Ascension combo turns?
Exactly. So Lumina Ascension has a second portion of text where if it hits, you're going to reveal the top card of your deck, and if it is a light card, it goes into the soul, which allows the combo to continue.
That's
and
right.
Unfortunately here, for the Starvo, both were light cards, and now Jimmy has 2 more cards in soul.
Yeah, not
And a
only
fresh
do these
start.
cards in Soul allow him to get go again, but they do let him get an extra life. One thing, though, that I forgot was because it's an on-hit effect, he can't trigger Bravo's ability before the attack hits. And as it's in a reaction, those aren't going to give the Sabres go again, thus ending the combo right there.
Exactly. So this was a pretty weak combo, and the odds have gone heavily in favor of the Starvo at this point. And now Bolton's again just trying to play a normal game, using Express Lightning here to just get more cards in Soul, and hopefully continue pressure. As long as it doesn't get blocked by an attack action card, it will not be able to get go again via Bolton's ability.
Yeah, though it looks like that's a Courageous Steel Hand, which is going to give it the boost that it needs for Bolton to be able to give it go again. And now Jimmy's coming in following that with a Centauri Saber.
And you do note here, though, the Starvo's taking that damage, which means almost certainly he's got the Starvo ability ready to go.
Yep, let's find out.
Oh, I'm a liar here. Instead, it's just going to be a Channel Lake Frigid, which is really going to put the stop on Jimmy's ability to attack multiple times in a turn, as each one will cost one additional resource.
Yeah, frequently we see when you have a Channel Lake Frigid, you'll end up playing it with the non-ice card and then following it up, pitching ice to play the Winter's Will. But here, Cody is choosing to use Command and Conquer. Is Command and Conquer here going to be as effective, given that there's no cards in Arsenal, as opposed to swinging with the weapon?
No, it's not, and you can see here that Jimmy is just happy to take the damage here. But you can see what Manton was trying to do. He took the damage in order to try and take back tempo on this game. And now, unfortunately, he didn't get any cards out of Jimmy's hands, but Channel Lake Frigid should allow that advantage to build up over the next two turns.
Mm-hmm. Channel Lake Frigid, meaning that all activated abilities, in addition to the costs of cards, are going to cost an additional resource. Now, Bolton's ability, his attack reaction, is an activated ability. So if he wants to give go again with that, he is going to have to pay the extra resource. But it looks like right now he had the natural go again from Take Flight, allowing him to come in with the Bolt of Courage. And Bolt of Courage giving him the draw, which he just put in Arsenal.
Yeah, so once again, Manton decided to just take the damage. So again, really trying to take back tempo in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And with Starvo abilities, that makes it a lot easier.
Yep, over here we see him revealing all three cards and pitching that Weave Lightning for the Break Ground. Break Ground basically coming in now for 9, Dominate, and Go again. This is the first time we've seen Starvo's ability activated this game.
Exactly. I don't think Bolton has the ability to just say no block at this point. We're in the 23 range, and the real question is, what's the follow-up? Manton has 2 cards left in hand. One of them is known, so it could just be an Ice Hammer and 1 card in Arsenal, or it could be something as bad as CNC, but we're just seeing the standard Whale play.
Yep, and it looks like this is only 1 ice card in his pitch zone right now, so he's going to be losing that Channel Lake Frigid at the end of the turn.
But he does have the health advantage, and Jimmy is only on a 4-card turn.
Mm-hmm. All right, Jimmy has another Take Flight coming in with the natural go again, charging up with a Soul Shield. Now, in this point, it's basically a race to see who can dominate the life total difference better. Do you think that Starvo has a higher damage output than Bolton, the Warrior, at this time?
I think so, especially since Bolton relies on cards in Soul, and, well, there are Luminas still in the deck. There are Beacon of Victories, which you have to watch out for once you get into the 4 health range. Again, Bolton could just dump the rest of his Soul. But right now, Bravo is pretty happy to just maybe Crown of Seeds, use the Rampart of the Ram's Head, and come in with a 4-card turn on his turn.
Yeah, Bravo
That's going to change. I was just going to say that's going to change once health gets down to the 10 range, maybe the 6 range. But for now, it's going to be pretty back and forth.
Yeah, and it looks like Cody has chosen to take this damage, preparing now for this Valiant Thrust coming in. Because of the charge on the Take Flight, it's going to be 3 additional damage, so that's a 7 for 1.
Mm-hmm. That's a pretty big hit, and it's probably going to make Manton reevaluate his turn here. And as you can see, here comes the Crown. The shield's almost certainly going to get thrown unless Staunch Response or some other big defense reaction gets thrown out as well.
Yep, there's the shield coming in, Crown of Seeds preventing another, and then 5 damage leaking through.
Okay, this is pretty dangerous territory. Attack reactions are a classic of the Warrior class. So right now, Manton's just going to hopefully push through damage. And, oh, well, okay, here we go. We've got an Oaken Old for 11. Dominate, go again. On hit, discard 2 cards at random. And there's going to be a follow-up Hammer Swing after that. So this is a very strong reason for Manton to keep his 4-card hand.
Yeah, playing as the Starvo, this is probably the hand that you want to see at this time. Oaken Old being so powerful, it doesn't have a crush effect. It's just on hit when it's dominated to cause that 2 cards onto the bottom. So you're really not up against much. It's very difficult, unless you have a red unmovable in your arsenal, say, to actually stop all 11 of that damage. And it looks like Jimmy's just sink below, preventing 4, letting the rest get through, and so he'll only have 1 card on his next turn. And Cody still has a go again from Starvo's ability.
Yeah, and this is where you really smile as Starvo, because, as we all know, Manton had a 4-card hand. He used one of those cards to use Crown of Seeds, which means he either got lucky and got the Oaken Old off the top of the deck, or he got the missing combo piece. Either way, Manton's pretty happy about this turn of events.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and just following up there with the Frosty Winter's Wail, Jimmy is choosing to take that. Will he be arsenaling or using that card for effect? Looks like he's arsenaling. Now, at 3 life, how likely is it that this is the last turn of the game?
It's very likely. I'd give it about 30% that Starvo just has the appropriate Starvo ability, but it looks like... Okay. There's a question about whether this is on...
well, Jimmy hasn't drawn his hands yet, so...
Turn. Okay, yeah. So he looks like he doesn't have it, and I don't think he has it, but it's just going to be putting some damage out and getting a card in Arsenal. I'm going to guess 7 damage turn.
Yep.
Ooh, and a Winter's Bite. That's nice.
Yeah, Winter's Bite is a fun card for the Bravo player to play. It basically takes a card out of Jimmy's hand, regardless of what Jimmy wanted to do. Normally, you have the ability, or the choice, not to block and keep cards in hand. Winter's Bite, an ice card, does cause some of that disruption automatically. And it looks like Cody will be following that up with a Red Autumn's Touch. That's just 7 raw damage, but at this point, 7 damage is more than lethal.
Exactly. So this is going to be a 2-card block. You can't, unfortunately, even just go Gallantry Gold in 1 card, which is severely going to reduce the amount of threat Bolton could put out on the next turn. Manton certainly has the tempo, and he doesn't want to give it up. And it doesn't look like Jimmy's going to have the chance.
Yeah, one of the things about Bolton is that to get effective turns, he really needs to have a lot of cards in hand. This is due to the nature of the charge ability, which requires you to take an extra card, put it into your soul. So if you're playing 1 card, pitching 1 card, and charging 1 card, that's 3 cards right there, and you haven't even played a second card.
Okay, he comes in with the Gallantry Gold, which means a Sink Below is certainly going to come out here in just a moment. Or it could be a Soul Shield. There's defense reactions at play.
Right, this is not a dominated Autumn's Touch, so Jimmy can follow up with that Sink Below as you predicted, going down to 1 life.
And, crucially, no Sink, which means Jimmy's pretty happy with the hand he has. I think that likely means a Beacon of Victory, and he might just try to steal the victory here with a well-timed attack reaction.
Yep, activating Gallantry Gold +1 for all of his weapon attacks this turn, and a Celestial Cataclysm. This is a card that you don't see played that often, but when it does come in, it is very effective.
Mm-hmm. But Gallantry Gold was popped, which is an interesting maneuver here, which probably means there's just a Saber follow-up at some point on this turn.
Yeah, it could be a bluff, or it could just be a last-ditch effort to leak damage through.
And you can see he only has 1 card in Soul now, so the attack reactions have got a lot less dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
The only one I think you have to worry about is Courageous Steel Hand, but without having charged, that's not a problem.
Yeah, no charge is happening yet this turn. The 1 card in hand, you're not going to be able to play something and charge, so he will either likely be pitching for Centauri Saber, actually already 2 resources there, so we'll see what that card goes through after the Celestial Cataclysm blocks occur. Looks like the 2 players right now may be discussing something, or Cody is just figuring out his blocks.
I'd say this is more of a thinker, because right now there's no reason to block. You could go down to 1, but I could see you using Crown and Shield here, seeing what you've got for the next turn, and then making a decision about whether or not you need to do additional blocks after you see what you draw for Crown. That's a pretty common play pattern for Starvo.
Yeah, Celestial Cataclysm has that natural go again, so Cody does know there will be something following here. If he blocks out everything, he may not be able to get the win in the next turn when Jimmy has more cards in hand. So this is really a pivotal point, blocking being probably the key skill in this matchup.
Exactly. All right, so, there we go. A clutch, staunch response from the Arsenal, blocking for 7. And there's even one floating for a follow-up Rampart of the Ram's Head. I expect a Saber to come out, and I expect the Shield to come out, and then I think that's it. If Starvo has... Oh, okay. So he's thinking about blocking from hand, which basically means he doesn't have the Starvo ability.
Yeah, right now Gallantry Gold has given this 3 power, and so Jimmy is able to use that 1 card from Soul to come in now with the second Centauri Saber. No resources floating, 1 card left in hand. And that's going to the Arsenal after Cody takes the second sword.
Yep, and of course that's a modified 3 damage due to Gallantry Gold. And the only armor piece left for Jimmy is the Snapdragon Scalers, and we're coming in with a lethal Command and Conquer. His only option here is to block with 2 cards from hand, as he has no armor, and he can't use that card in Arsenal if it's a defense reaction.
Yeah, we have seen already 3 Sink Belows from Jimmy, so if that's the only defense reaction he's rocking, then his hand probably won't be too full of those, but he might still have a Soul Shield. It's somewhat annoying not being able to block with the defense reactions, because at this point, Jimmy really wants cards he can use for effect.
Exactly. And I'm not sure if we've seen 2 or 3 Soul Shields. I'm going to guess we've only seen 2, so it definitely could be a tough decision here on what to block with.
Yeah.
Because one other thing is, if that Soul Shield's in hand, you can't use that to attack with. It's going to have to be pitched.
Exactly. And here it looks like he's blocking with 2 of his attack action cards, a full block on Command and Conquer, keeping him in the game with 2 cards in hand and 1 card in Arsenal.
So he's starting to claw back away into this game. Since he has a 3-card hand here, and Starvo only has a 4-card hand, there's nothing in Arsenal to be used for Crown of Seeds, which makes the Rampart of the Ram's Head a lot less efficient.
Yeah, as the Starvo player, one of the top priorities is to have that card in Arsenal, not only so you can use it to block, but also to help prepare your hand for the next turn. Over here, Jimmy came in with a yellow Engulfing Light, so a Winter's Bite with 2 block was able to fully prevent that. And right here, Cody is coming in with a dominated Oaken Old, dominating by fusing with the Pulse of Eisenloft. This is one of those cards where you can use 1 to achieve 2 elements, and with Oaken Old, it can be fatal. Let's see if this is going to be the game, or, the Soul Shield from Arsenal.
Yep, had to be expected at that point.
Yeah, so that was going to be 9 block, the full amount from the Oaken Old. You thought Cody might have had it there, but Jimmy was able to pull through once again.
Yep, and now he's coming back with a 2-card hand. A simple Bolt of Courage means if this hits, he's going to draw a card, which will go straight to Arsenal. The question now is, does Cody have an ability to use the hero ability? If he does, almost certainly game over. That was probably the last Soul Shield. That was probably out of Sink Belows. So right now, I think Manton's just deciding, can I just take this damage and push through a checkmate at the end of this next turn?
That's right. Bolt of Courage is coming in for 3. Cody has 5 life, and there are no attack reactions in Jimmy's hand right now. Now, if...
Still a tense moment, for sure.
Yeah. If Cody didn't block this, do you think it would be worth using those Snapdragon Scalers to give it go again, just on the off chance you swing with the sword of the card that you draw, or do you want to save that card for next turn if you get the hit? Cody over here choosing to use Crown of Seeds to filter his hand, and he will be blocking... very much blocking this, preventing 5 damage out of the 3.
3 plus 1, of course, due to Bolton's ability.
Right.
So that means the Crown of Seeds was still floating. But yeah, that was definitely a point in time where Cody had to block, because the Snapdragon Scalers definitely would have gotten used. It's do or die for Jimmy right now.
Yeah, and Cody just coming in with a chill 7 damage from Evergreen.
And that is a very important breakpoint at this point of the game. On 1 life, it means you can't take a damage. Cards that block for 3 mean 3 cards are going to have to be used, which makes Bolton a really sad hero, because he can't charge. 1 card in hand, nothing to charge with.
Right, it's either going to be something that costs 0 to attack with, something to pitch for the Saber, or just a card in Arsenal. But giving Cody 4 cards plus his Arsenal into a turn can be very, very dangerous, especially when Starvo is full of potential dominate.
Mm-hmm. Looks like Jimmy's thinking about what he wants to do this turn. If he has the... Oh, there we go. What? Is that 3?
Yeah, and I think Cody asked the same question. Is that 3? Yeah. Looks like it probably was.
Yeah, it was so quick I couldn't quite catch it. We'll likely just see a Crown of Seeds, a Rampart here as normal, and then we're going to... I think right now, Cody's just waiting until he gets 3 elements to be able to push that last bit of damage through. But this is pretty much the best case scenario for Bolton at this point in time. With 1 card, that was the only way he was going to get more than 1 card out of Cody's hand.
Yeah, Celestial Cataclysm being a light action, not the warrior action, it doesn't rely on that charge ability, only having cards in the soul already. Costing 0 for 7 go again, those 3 cards took a while to set up, but that's pretty well above curve.
And something else to consider here, Bolton has 14 cards left in the deck, as compared to the 34 of Manton. So the question is, can Manton just block out, make sure he doesn't take too much damage, and present enough threat to make sure that Jimmy has to keep blocking? Or just go for the kill when he finally gets the Starvo ability? And judging from the way he's playing right now, I think it's going to be a single card block, plus the 2 from, well, plus the 1 from Rampart, 1 from Crown. He's going to take 2 damage, and then swing with a colorful hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see what Cody chooses to block with there. It looks like he's considering that card on the left, moving them around. Really making sure he gets this right.
As well, right, Andy?
Yeah, I played Starvo. I ended up getting 3 ProQuest top 8s with it, so I'm fairly familiar with the deck.
So in this situation, do you feel you're feeling good, or do you think you're out of the woods?
You know, I was feeling good, I think, the moment that the Bolton got to 1 life. I'm personally not that experienced against Bolton, but just knowing what Starvo can do. Starvo can block for a lot, Starvo can put on pressure easily. As you mentioned earlier, those 7 breakpoints are very powerful. Usually Starvo has at least 6 of them in his deck on just the Earth Elemental cards alone. Add on top of that the Crippling Crush, the Oaken Old. There are a lot of ways where Starvo can eke through 1 damage or take away the entire opponent's hand. So right here, it looks like Jimmy has been either getting lucky or just very skilled on his timing of the defense reactions.
So, one thing you did neglect to mention from that is a certain card called Pummel. And right now, Jimmy is deciding, is that in Cody's hand? He kept a 3-card hand. He could have blocked for more. He took 2 damage. Why didn't he block out? Can I afford to play around the Pummel?
That's right.
And right now, the answer is no. He can't afford, and the clutch last Soul Shield comes out.
Yeah, normally I wouldn't have 3 Pummels in on Bravo Star of the Show. That's just the way I built the deck. Against Warrior, against probably Bolton, knowing Jimmy. It looks like Cody thought to put all 3 of them in, and I bet he thought he had that game. But it looks like that Soul Shield was able to fully block that out. And Jimmy presenting his hand over here on the Dominated Evergreen. I guess that is as close to a concession as we'll see.
All right. Manton's packing up. So what does that bring the record for the Hyperloops for this week?
Yeah, so with Cody's win, that's going to be a clean sweep for the Hyperloops. 5-0 against Team Kitchen Fable. This is actually the same 2 teams, the Hyperloops and Team Kitchen Fable, that we saw in the finals of Season 1. So seeing them matched up here and the Hyperloops win so effectively, I look forward to seeing how things go during the remaining rounds of the competitive Team League series.
Do I. It's going to be an exciting time, but of course this is only week 1. There's 4 more weeks to go and then the playoffs.
Yeah, so thanks Quinn for helping me comment on this game. Thank all of you who watched for watching. We're going to try and get as many of these games streamed for the TKL over on my channel. If you want to make sure you get apprised of the content, please subscribe. And thank you all for watching. Have a good rest of your weekend.